So here we are. We're in Illustrator. The first thing we're gonna do is we are going to create our correct document size. So everything we do today is gonna start off in Illustrator, and then we're gonna bring it over to Photoshop. The first thing I'm gonna want to do is go to File, New, and once I get inside of File, New, I'm going to change my document size. Like I said earlier, we want to make this so that it's an 11 by 15. That's about our max print area with the platens that we use for screen printing back there. And there's one other thing that we're going to change, and that is going to be where it says our color mode. We want to make this into RGB. And one might ask, why are we doing that? Because we're going to output this to paper, and the traditional mindset is to use CMYK because that's what the printer prints in. But we're trying to trick the printer to print a thicker or more dense black, and if we leave it in CMYK, what's going to happen is the printer is only going to print K for toner. It's not going to print the other ones. And what's going to happen is it's going to create this layer of toner that's kind of opaque, that's going to let light go through. So we're going to trick the printer. We're going to tell it we're going to want to print in RGB. Well, in order to make RGB black, what has to happen is the printer has to print cyan, magenta, yellow, and black to get the actual black color. So that ends up creating a thicker layer of toner, which is more dense, and it blocks out more what? What kind of light? It blocks out the UV when we want to go ahead and expose our screen. So I'm going to give your screen back to you. You're going to make a document that is an 11 inches wide by 15 inches tall. Change your color mode to RGB and leave your raster effects at high 300 PPI. So here's your screen back. There you go. Okay, now that everybody's got their document size correctly, what we're going to end up doing is we've got to create registration marks, right? Registration marks are going to be the one consistent piece between our vellums when we go ahead and screen print. That registration mark is going to allow us to make sure that our screen will line up properly on every platen that we use. So in order to do this, what we need to do is go to our line tool. It's located in our toolbox. It looks like a slash. You're gonna go ahead and click on that. You're not gonna actually draw the line on the screen. What you're gonna do is go out with your cursor, and you're going to click on the screen. By clicking on the screen, what it's gonna do is bring up this line segment tool. We want to change our length so that it's 0.5 inches long, and our angle is gonna be 90. Once you've got that, go ahead and click OK. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to do it again. So now we're going to have two lines. We're going to have one, both are going to be 0.5 inches long. One's going to have an angle of 90, and the other one's going to have an angle of 0. Now that we've all gone ahead and created our lines, our crosshairs, we need to make a circle portion. To make a circle, we're going to use the ellipse tool, which is technically probably the rectangle tool right now. So you need to go ahead and click on the rectangle tool, hold, and the ellipse tool will come up. Once you get the ellipse tool up, you're going to click on your screen. It's going to bring up the dialog box for the ellipse tool. We want to type in 0.3 by 0.3, and then go ahead and click OK. So now we've got these three shapes that are on our document that we've created. These three shapes, though, don't have the correct weight, so we need to go ahead and change the line weight of these. What we are going to do is go over to our tool panel, and we're going to click on the selection tool or the black arrow. We're going to go out to our screen. and we're going to click and drag a marquee over the top of those three shapes. So what that has done by dragging a marquee over the top of them is it has selected all three shapes. So now we can go ahead and change all of the attributes at the same time. If we look at the top of our computer screen, we've got the control panel. That's where it talks about the stroke, the line type, which right now it's a uniform. We want to change the stroke where it says 1 PT right now to say 3 PT. Push enter. You can see all three of those lines grew in weight at the same time. Now what we're going to do is get these to align properly, because right now they're not sharing the same center point. So what I'd like you to do is go to Window, and we're going to click on the Align panel. Window, Align. All three of the programs that we use, InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator, all have this alignment panel. This alignment panel can be used to align different shapes, text boxes, backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. We just need to know how it works. The alignment tool, though, does have some more things in here that we want to talk about real quick. If we go to the upper right-hand corner of the Align box, there's going to be a little drop-down portion. We'll go ahead and click on that. We want to show options. What that does is it put one more little bar on the bottom of that box. And in the lower right-hand corner of it, there's a spot where it says, what do you want to align to? You can either align to the selection, you can align to the key object, or you can align to the artboard. For now, we want to leave ours just on selection, so make sure that that is selected. All three of those shapes should still be selected on your screen. We want to just deal with the align objects. We don't want to deal with distribute objects. So we're going to go over where it says the horizontal align center. It's the second one over from the left. We're going to click on that, and you should see that it snapped all of the vertical center points together. And if we go over to the right, the second one in from the right, it says vertical align center. Now what we've done is we've aligned all of these shapes together. And now we've got a perfect set of crosshairs. Can anybody tell me the command to group this together? What set of keys can I use to group this together? Control G. So if I push Control G on my keyboard, it groups it together. So if I click off of it and click back on, it selects it as a whole object. So all of those pieces will always be aligned together. The next step is figuring out where to place this. We don't know where to put it on the screen yet. So what we need to do is do a new set of keys that we probably haven't used before, which is going to be Control R. Control R. That's going to bring up your rulers on your keyboard. You got to understand that the rulers, though, the more you zoom in, the more precise the ruler is going to become. If you're looking at the document at so you can see the whole page, it's going to go in 2-inch increments, and that's not going to be enough detail for what we need. So if we do a little Control plus, and we hold space bar and drag our corner so we can see the upper left-hand corner, just click on the screen and drag over with your space bar being held down. You can move the artboard around. We now want to put some guidelines out there. So if I start with my vertical ruler, I'm going to go over to it. I'm going to click in it and drag over. I want to put a guideline that's at the 1/2-inch mark. I also want to do one that comes down as well from the top. Then I'm going to hold space bar. I'm going to grab my artboard and drag it over so I can see the right-hand side of the document. And I'm going to place a guideline that comes in a 1/2-inch from 11. So it should be actually at 10.5. We also want to find where vertical center and horizontal center are of this document. So what's 1/2 of 11? Thanks, Rodrigo. 5.5. So put another line at 5.5. And then go down to the bottom of the document and put that last guideline in. So you should have 5 guidelines on your screen. Once you've got there, just kind of hold out for a second. Okay, now that you've got all your guidelines out there, we need to go ahead and we need to put the registration mark in the correct place. We're going to have one in every corner. So we're going to take that one that we made. We're going to move that to the upper left-hand corner. You can see the guidelines kind of snap it into place. To quickly make a copy of this, does anybody know what key I would push on the keyboard? Control C would work, and then you'd have to do Control V. I'm lazy, so that's too many keys for me. I like to just hold the Alt key. So hold the Alt key, click on it, and you can make a copy of it. If I hold Shift, it'll drag it in a straight line. And then I'm going to drag the other ones down to the other corners as well. So hold Alt, drag down, snaps into place. The very last thing that you want to do, look at my screen, look at the board. We want to put a line on that center at 5.5. So we're going to go back to our line tool. We're going to click on our screen, and we're going to create a line that's 0.5 inches long, that's at 90 degrees for its angle, and it's created a little line. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put that right in the center of the document, both at the top and the bottom. And once it's there, your screen should look like mine. If I turn off my guidelines, they should have 4 registration marks and then 2 in the middle there that designate where center is. Once you've got that, just kind of hold out for a second. The very last step I'd like you to do is go ahead and we're going to put our name in the upper left-hand corner. I want you to type it out and make it a size 20. And just move it so that it's right next to the registration mark as close as you can get it. This is going to do a couple things. It's going to tell you what is right read and what's wrong read when we go to expose. It's also going to burn your name into your screen so I know whose screen is who. Once you've got that done, I want you to go ahead and save this in your iDrive. It's very important that you save it as screen printing template. So go File, Save As, and save it as screen printing template. When you click Save, another box is going to pop up. It's going to ask you what version of Illustrator you want to save it in. You want to save it as a CS6. You shouldn't have to change anything. You just need to click OK. Once you click OK, go ahead and make sure Photoshop is open for me, and that's where we're going to move to next. All right, so now that we've created ourselves a Illustrator template, let's go ahead and make a Photoshop template. This goes much faster. What we need to do is go to File. We need to go to New. We need to make sure that our document is 11 inches wide and our height is 15. You want to make sure that your resolution is set at 300 and that your color mode is going to be RGB. Once you've got that done, go ahead and click OK so I can see that everybody's there. Go back to Illustrator for me. Do a Control A. That's a select all command. Control A. And this is the point where I want to use the copy. So you're going to do a Control C. That's just copied everything on this screen. We're going to go back to Photoshop. And we're going to go Control V. It's going to ask how you want to paste this. We want to paste it as a smart object. So go ahead and click OK. You notice it pasted it right in the middle of the screen. So don't move anything. It put it exactly where we want it to be. We're now going to push enter on the keyboard. That finishes the command. Before we go any farther than this, I want to make sure we lock this layer so it can no longer move. Go to your layers panel over on the right hand side. The vector smart layer should be highlighted in blue. Right above that, there's going to be what looks like a little lock symbol, a padlock. Go ahead and click on that. It's now locked that layer, and you're going to no longer be able to move that. So we can go ahead and we can start creating artwork from here. Go ahead and save this as another screen printing template to your iDrive, and that's going to be where we call it today. Tomorrow, we'll go ahead and we will focus on how to actually color separate.